In February of 2025, I covered these 5 people on my channel, and with 2 new stories and even somebody calling me out, this month has been pretty full on, and today we will be looking at the most hated Roblox YouTubers of February 2025, starting with Looped Q. Now, if you don't already know, Looped Q is a Roblox commentary YouTuber with over 23,000 subscribers who makes drama Roblox content and covers news in the community. However, people have started to grow resentful against Looped Q, as he can be seen reaching in order to get a clickbait title and thumbnail, which takes us to February 9th of 2025, when Paolo would make a video on Looped Q titled "Roblox YouTuber Flamingo was exposed and it's stupid." The video would go on to introduce Looped Q and why Paolo wasn't happy with what he did.
So recently, a Roblox YouTuber named Looped Q, known for making the dumbest videos ever attempting to call out John Roblox, Sharkblocks, and even myself, has recently attempted to expose Flamingo for the most insane reason ever, and he was clowned on so hard that even Creecraft came out in Flamingo's defense, claiming that Looped Q is just plain stupid.
So for more context, Looped Q has made over 50 videos on Flamingo, which is funnily enough against community guidelines if Flamingo wanted to take his channel down. However, Looped Q has also been allegedly malicious towards Flamingo,
Clickbaiting some random person's with it poorly being censored in the thumbnail, with Looped Q then using Flamingo's name in the title of this video to therefore get views, and making it so Flamingo's predominantly audience will be enticed to watch it, and therefore giving him traction.
or even a time where Looped Q clickbaited naked photos of Flamingo, which actually turned out to be completely normal gym progress photos that Flamingo had taken on Snapchat. In the very same video, Looped Q would show an alleged dox of Flamingo, which was poorly blurred out in the video. But going back to Paolo's video on the new clickbait that Looped Q did towards Flamingo, he would go on to say this.
Anyway, the new drama Looped Q instigated was where he attempted to call out Flamingo for 6-year-old tweets he had, where he had added his ex-girlfriend's Twitter account on his Twitter account. So what's the problem, you may be asking, with all of this? Well, Looped Q, in his infinite form of wisdom, brings up how Flamingo's ex-girlfriend hadn't account, and that some people who interacted with her have Flamingo meme-orientated profile pictures. So therefore they must be children, and therefore Flamingo is now culpable in this situation and is apparently directly promoting her account to his fans because of these 6-year-old tweets.
Not only is this stupid to call Flamingo responsible, but to claim that it's his fault for not taking down multiple year-old tweets that he probably didn't even know were there is ridiculous to say the least. Looped Q is obviously reaching in this situation for views and subscribers in order to clickbait Flamingo's name for any possible crumb of attention. However, in Paolo's video exposing him, he would finish it off by saying this.
Not only is this a complete stretch, Looped Q, but you yourself have caused way more of a problem because you not only name-dropped the model involved in this, but you indirectly have promoted her content, in which has caused far more traction towards her than what you claim Flamingo's tweets have done. Additionally, as Schlep put it, the amount of people seeing Flamingo's 6-year-old tweets is completely negligible unless you actively seek it out. This is a complete nothing burger situation, and this is even coming from me. Even Creecraft thought that the post Looped Q made was bait because the logic was so twisted, but later then flat out called Looped Q stupid after realizing that it was genuine because he literally doubled down on it in response to Creecraft.
Which takes us on to another YouTuber who received a lot of hate during the month of February. However, what if I told you all of this hate was undeserved? Meet PM Damien, an animation YouTuber with over 2.6 million subscribers who has made waves with his very skilled Roblox animation videos. Recently, allegations have been coming out about Damien allegedly being a However, as we will find out very shortly, this has all been lies, and he has actually been putting up with endless harassment from the person who has been calling him out. On February 23rd of 2025, Paolo would post to YouTube a video titled "The Roblox YouTuber PM Damien Drama is Sad." The video is currently sitting on just over 650,000 views and will most likely hit 1 million very soon. However, the point of the video was to defend Damien for these horrific allegations that someone has been spreading about about him, as well as pointing out the clear harassment that he has been receiving, which takes us to a YouTuber called Superbricks, who only has just under 200 subscribers, however has been gaining a lot of traction after calling out and making up allegations on Damien. This all started because Superbricks has had a somewhat endless hatred for Damien. He has had a vendetta against Damien for over 8 months, but Superbricks hating on Damien is far from the worst thing he has done. As we see from this screenshot, Superbricks can be seen sending something very disturbing to one of Damien's friends. This is textbook harassment from what we have seen so far. Superbricks has some kind of obsession with Damien, whether he's jealous of Damien's success or what, something fishy is definitely going on. Superbricks has also changed his Discord profile picture in the past to what he thought was a picture of Damien's real life house. However, thankfully it wasn't his actual house, but Damien would still confirm that it was his neighbor's house that Superbricks was showing. Now, although Damien confirmed that it was his neighbor's house and not him, doesn't mean that it is 100% true. Many victims of doxing will often say that for their own protection, meaning that Superbricks could have possibly actually doxed his full house. But this would only get worse when Superbricks made a video trying to expose Damien, where the thumbnail was literally Damien's neighbor's house built inside Roblox. Superbricks also attempting to dox Damien on Discord, actively spreading very personal information about Damien and his family, including his mother's phone number and father's phone number, as well as his alleged address and phone number as well. I fucking hate doxing. I have actually been threatened numerous times, even when I was as young as 13 years old. I just don't think these clinically online losers truly understand the harm that can be caused by doxing, whether it's just personal information leaked, people trying to hack you, or even something as bad as getting swatted. Nothing good can come from doxing. Even if it's done on somebody who has done terrible things, it should never be excused. I mean, what we have covered so far is horrific and borderline harassment towards Damien, but what have I told you? It gets much worse. When in Superbricks' video on Damien, he would also convince the alleged victim to lie to fit Superbricks' narrative, which we will talk about in a second. But I want you guys to fully understand truly how horrible this stuff is, and that Damien needs all the support he can get right now. Even though Superbricks doesn't have much reach on YouTube with only 150 something subscribers, Paolo still made a video in Damien's defense, since people were actually comparing Damien with Podema. Podema not only admitted everything, the victim of Podema did as well, and there is also tons and tons of evidence on him. Damien not only has no evidence supporting the claim against him, but the claim was made by someone who had to convince a victim to spread lies, has held a very long hatred against Damien, and is actively trying to dox and ruin his life. This would all start when Damien would start messaging a girl named April. They would later get into a relationship that I will talk about barely lasted long at all. However, the age gap for this relationship was 1 year and 10 months. Although kind of far apart, is completely legal and morally okay. Damien was 16 turning 17 when they were dating, and April was 14 turning 15. Now please keep in mind the long-term vendetta that I mentioned earlier that Superbricks had against Damien. Superbricks would decide that it was a good idea to convince and borderline manipulate April into releasing a fake statement about her and Damien's relationship. Superbricks would use this statement against Damien to claim that he was some sort of but in the video refused to show any evidence and still hasn't provided anything against Damien to this day. This would prompt Paolo and his friends, namely Frev, Arham, and Pinv, to get into a group chat with Damien so they could get his side of the story and potentially talk about everything that has been going on. This is where Damien would provide the full context of the situation, as well as clearing up any allegations that were made against him. He also clarified that in DMs between him and April, he did go on to delete all of the messages. However, the reason for him doing this was to prevent any messages from being taken out of context, since he already had lies being spread about him. He also stated that he had no intention of manipulating April, even if it came across that way. However, he would state that he did lead April on, which even though he admitted that, he still was very sincere about everything and still felt bad for April, even though April had released a statement that was complete lies. The reason that they broke up in the first place was that Damien was talking to another girl beforehand and felt that him and April were just not right for each other. However, he would also reveal that they had only been in a relationship for 1 hour, which I personally wouldn't even count count as anything. He had mixed emotions about April, which is why they didn't last long whatsoever. He was very sincere about the situation when quite frankly he didn't have to be, and would even apologize to April despite their 1-hour relationship not really meaning anything in the grand scheme of things. Even after apologizing, April claimed he was a love bomber, proving that she had mixed emotions throughout the entire relationship and situation. In Paolo's video, he would also reveal DMs where April openly admits that Damien never once made her feel uncomfortable, and even in other DMs, it would show that April was the main person in the relationship that was even being romantic and flirtatious. And if anyone was to feel uncomfortable within the relationship, it was Damien. This was revealed when DMs were shown in Paolo's video of April sending Damien 18+ Roblox content to him out of nowhere. She would even go on to joke about him making an animation of them with this 18+ theme. Both of these made Damien very uncomfortable and truly shows you how their relationship was, despite Superbricks spreading a very different narrative. However, April did acknowledge that these things made Damien uncomfortable and would respect his boundaries. However, Damien would expose that April would continue making these weird jokes to him despite him feeling uncomfortable. April would later be confronted about this in January of 2025, where she would admit that Damien never actually manipulated her, and in fact, Superbricks was the one who convinced her to lie in a statement against Damien. She would even ask Superbricks to delete the video on Damien. She would even tell Superbricks that Damien didn't actually do anything and that he should really take down the video, where Superbricks would respond to this stating that she is, quote, acting weird, and would completely avoid removing the video. This is where April would state that she is 100% telling the truth. She goes on to confront Superbricks about the fact that she only ever agreed with what he was asking rather than actually feeling this way towards Damien. She once again would ask Superbricks to remove the video, where he would finally respond, however refused to delete the video and even claimed that deleting it would only give him a bad look, not only proving that he only cares about how the audience feels and not them knowing the truth, despite being lied to directly by Superbricks himself. But what do I personally think of all this? Well, Superbricks is extremely sad and pathetic for endlessly harassing Damien, as well as trying to spread false allegations about him. This behavior is extremely childish, and you could also say that he is trying to clout chase off of Damien's name. I suggest you watch Paolo's video after this one for further context, and go show some positive support to Damien as well, since he really needs it right now. I also want to show a clip from Paolo's video of him talking about the problem that we currently have within the Roblox community, where way too many people are throwing words around like and proud. I personally agree with what Paolo is about to say, and it's the same as the word. It has the same weight as the word pedophile, yet they mean completely different things, and people are so quick to call others that without it being the case most of the time.
Now, the moral of this story in this situation is to stop overusing the term and using it in reference to situations with small age gaps and zero evidence of any manipulations or present in it. It does an actual disservice to serious and actual situations, because at this rate, the Roblox community is currently dancing on the definition of the word, and it's being thrown around with literally zero evidence, and it's used in almost every situation, despite barely anyone actually understanding what the term actually means.
If we want justice to be served to the bad actors within the Roblox community, we need to get everything 100% correct so that they can't ever wiggle their way out of being exposed, which we have seen multiple times. It can also help with them actually going to jail and serving proper justice rather than just being cancelled on YouTube. This takes us to the time I actually got called out during February, me receiving harassment, false allegations, and getting doxxed. Here is what happened. Ever since exposing this racist TikTok scammer and his friends, I've been sent false privacy complaints in an attempt to silence my video. I've also been threatened and had false allegations spread about me on Twitter, and today I will be talking about everything and responding to all the allegations. However, before we start, I have to disclaim that this video is made for educational purposes and is purely for documenting what happened with Kaiser, Kitty, and Funzy. I also want to add that this video is fair use and is not eligible for a DMCA takedown, and lawyers will be involved if it gets to that point. So on the 30th of January 2025, I would post on my main channel a video titled Exposing Roblox's Worst TikTok Scammer, which was followed by a part 2 I dropped the other day titled Roblox's Heartless Group of Scammers. These videos would go into detail about the many horrible things Kaiser has done, but I would also expose his associates, Kitty and Funzy. Now, if you don't already know, I will do a quick summary for who they are. Kaiser is a Roblox TikToker who has over 350,000 followers and has a very lengthy history of scamming as well as other things. Kitty is a community manager for Blade Ball who has endlessly tried to cover up for Kaiser and defend him everywhere she goes. Funzy, on the other hand, is a developer who is also an associate of both of them. In my video, I would expose Kaiser's history with buying botted followers. He has been known to promote his own botting service in his Discord bio, and when we visit the website in his bio, we can see that it sells a list of services related to botting followers, likes, and whatever you could possibly think of. This led me into looking at Kaiser's suspicious like to view ratios, like this video that has 1.4 million views, however only has 86,000 likes. I would then expose his very egotistical behavior, as well as him abusing power within games like Blade Ball, the game that Kitty works for. And how can we forget Kaiser buying a checkmark from Funzy? But that is the very tip of the iceberg when it comes to Kaiser. I would also expose Kaiser's 5-year history of scamming, starting with a PS4 scam he was involved with almost 5 years ago during 2020. I would also go over the time that Kaiser scammed someone for poison horns, an item worth over 1500 USD. The victim would not only lose the money to Kaiser, but they would also completely lose the item that they were supposed to be selling. They would never be paid for the item, and when confronted about getting scammed twice in one go, Kaiser would act clueless and deflect like he always does. But this is far from the only time Kaiser has scammed. I also covered the time that he scammed his own friend that he knew for years for fiery horns, an item worth over 1800 US dollars. Except this time, Kaiser would use the excuse that it was his best friend on the account and would even show fake DMs with him and the alleged best friend. In my video, I went into more detail on how he pulled off the scam. However, to this day, the victim still does not have the item that's worth over 1800 USD or the payment. And when confronted about this, he would just deflect and leave the chat, saying that it was a waste of his time. Kaiser has also scammed for a super happy face, an item worth a few 100,000 Robux. Kaiser promised the victim that he would uptrade the item and return it with an even better one, and who would have thought, he went on to block the victim where they still haven't got their item back. And in part 2 of my video series, I would also cover something that I missed in part 1, the time when Kaiser scammed a user named Scaby for a classic fedora, an item worth over 400,000 Robux. Kaiser would once again deflect when confronted, where the victim would later be blocked and to this day still has not gotten their item back. However, scamming isn't the only thing Kaiser has done, as he also has a history of being racist, like the time he would drop the hard R in someone's Instagram DMs, or the time where he made his avatar a black person looking up at some chicken as a stereotypical joke against black people, or the time that Kaiser was calling a Pookie, and then the person who confronted him getting muted for stating that the person Kaiser was saying that to was literally a child. I covered a lot more on Kaiser in my videos, so make sure to watch both of them if you want the full context. I would also expose Kitty, a friend of Kaiser who has endlessly been defending him, like the time Kitty was singing a very inappropriate song in a voice chat that was full of or the time where Kitty was allegedly being racist. I would also cover when Kitty was exposed for buying her checkmark, where I showed even more proof in my second video of Kitty buying bots, where a user called Osama would expose her for it, where Kitty would go on to confirm her bots were from Osama, which I will show some extra proof at the end of this video, but just keep that in mind. She also allegedly faked her development experience to get higher ranks in games. The Funzy stuff I covered isn't really relevant to me being called out, which I'm about to address, but if you want to hear about what Funzy did, as well as a more in-depth investigation into what Kitty and Kaiser has done, make sure to watch part 1 and 2 I made on Kaiser and his associates over on my main channel, which takes me onto what we will be talking about today. So before I dropped my part 2 on Kaiser, a user named Inklides, who I would later find out was Kitty's actual boyfriend, came into my Discord to defend Kitty surrounding the weird song she was singing in that Discord voice chat. He would make the claim that she did this because Hazem, the owner of Please Donate and the the owner of the server where she did it herself offered her a black Volk worth around 9 million Robux for it. It was a dare, and there is also proof of this if you would like to see it. I did ask for the proof that he failed to provide. However, even if we give Kitty the benefit of the doubt here and say that she was paid for it, it still doesn't give her the right to act like that. It is irresponsible and totally inappropriate, not only as a role model within the Bladeball community, but especially in a Discord server that is full of underage users. Which takes us onto me being called out and exposed apparently on Twitter. So Kitty's boyfriend, who I just talked about, Inklides, would make a Twitter post calling me out that read, "Roblox expose YouTuber documentaries showing heavy childish and unprofessional behavior when being asked about how he gets his proof for his videos." Now, he is referencing a conversation that took place in my Discord server, where Kitty's boyfriend would come into my Discord and try to confront me about my proof on Kitty being fake, which I would simply reply that it was from a trusted source who was also friends with Kitty at the time, which I will still stand on that statement. Kitty is guilty for multiple things. Even if one of the claims was untrue, that doesn't make her a good person. The proof is even more valid, and I'm guessing the reason he is coming at me this aggressive is because he has a personal relationship with Kitty, therefore making him biased. He would then go on to add some context to the thread reading, "Context. I went into his server to ask how he gets his proof, and the only way he gets proof is by using Discord messages, can easily be edited and relies on them purely and vouchers from other random people to vouch that it's legit. How does that prove anything?" That is such a baseless point, and you could literally use this argument against anybody being exposed ever. Just because they are Discord messages does not make them invalid. Yes, they could easily be faked, but considering that I have thousands of video ideas at my disposal, with most of them having boatloads of proof, please tell me why I would fake proof of somebody that I wasn't even planning to expose in the first place. The only reason I went for Kitty in my video is because after my first Kaiser video, I had at least over 50 people asking me to cover Kitty, providing me proof on Kitty and testifying against her. Even after my second video, I am still being sent more proof against Kitty that I will probably include in my Bladeball video. Kitty's boyfriend would also go on to say this, proceeds to say that I'm biased for knowing a victim of his videos, waits for me to say it and keeps on asking so that he can just ban me and not be proven wrong. Just because a person knows somebody does not mean they have to be biased, my guy. Which he does make a pretty valid point. Knowing someone doesn't mean that you are biased. For example, I know Paolo, but in my videos documenting him, I stay unbiased to give a neutral and fair perspective. But you were trying to downplay the fact that you are literally boyfriend and girlfriend, the closest relationship that you can have with a person. So why would you not be biased? This is on top of the fact that I've had not even one person other than you claim that the proof is fake, or that I'm reaching to claim Kitty is this or that. And also the reason I banned you from my server is because you proved that you were biased, and I couldn't be dealing with that. This is a nothing burger, and it's sad to see that you are taking sides but claiming that you are not. You lie just like your girlfriend Kitty. And if you believe so much that the proof is fake, address the 1,000 things I proved against Kitty, and let's see if your opinion is neutral or if it is biased like I said. He would also end the thread with this. Overall, he is someone who just reposts 90% of his videos. You can literally look at the past few videos, most of them are all reposted for money and attention with no proper proof of some of the individuals, which is very hilarious and unprofessional for an exposed YouTuber. Okay, so yes, I have reused content, but I have multiple reasons for this. I'm going to guess he is referencing the compilation video that I strictly mentioned contained re-uploaded content, and in fact, the main reason I even uploaded that was because I had another upload that was falsely stricken down, and at the exact same time I was on holiday in another city, so I couldn't just make a new video, and I had to resort to something different, hence why I uploaded a compilation. And yes, I used footage from the first Kaiser video in the second one, but this was because in the first half of the video I was summarizing what I covered in part 1, so that new viewers could be aware of what I've covered so far, as well as the segments on Kitty and Funzy. This is such a baseless argument that is clearly fueled by anger, or else you wouldn't have to resort to trying to bash my content to prove your claim. However, with that out the way, I also need to address the fact that either Kitty, Funzy, or Kaiser is trying to falsely privacy complain my video. After my second video on Kaiser, I would receive 2 emails. One of them was from YouTube with the subject reading privacy complaint. The email would be sent anonymously from somebody claiming that in my video at 25:41 to 25:56 of my second Kaiser video, it somehow violated someone's privacy. Not only is this wrong, but when I checked the timestamp, it was a screenshot that I showed earlier of Kaiser dropping the hard R, which proves that this privacy complaint was purely made in an attempt to falsely take the video down so they can protect their reputation. The second email I received was also titled Privacy Complaint, and in this email it would claim that the entirety of Part 1 and 2 breached privacy guidelines, which is obviously not true as all of the information was either public or has been covered by others in the past. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about the privacy complaints as they are so false it's actually kind of funny, but I really don't appreciate being attacked, and I didn't really want to talk about this, but somebody would comment where I live in my last video almost 5 minutes after the video was up. I quickly deleted the comment, but people would notice and talk about it in my Discord server. I'm not saying this for any sympathy or anything, but I just find it suspicious that not only am I receiving privacy complaints, false allegations, but people are also doxing my location. I'm not saying that this was Kaiser or anything, but if it was, I will find out and I will go 100 times harder in my next video. Thank you guys for all of the support to do with me basically getting harassed about exposing the truth, but I want to reassure you guys that I'm completely fine and there's no need to worry. But before we finish the video, I also want to show some new things that I've been sent involving Kitty. Osama, the person who I talked about in my videos, that botted Kaiser and Kitty's followers, would contact me on Discord to provide me proof that it was actually Kitty and Kaiser buying the bots. As of this moment, he couldn't provide me proof against Kaiser as he is still gathering the evidence. However, this is what he would send regarding Kitty that proves that she has paid for the bots on her Roblox account directly from Osama. He would also send a screenshot that proved that the bots were sent to Kitty directly. I was also sent the time that somebody called out Kaiser and showed proof that her and Kaiser were talking when she was 15 and he was over the age of 18. We'll have to go more in depth on this in my next main channel video on the topic. However, I have heard a lot of these type of things behind the scenes about Kaiser and have also been sent some proof of him being very weird. This takes us onto one of the arguably biggest communities I have exposed on my channel. Firstly, I must explain what Phantom Forces is exactly. Phantom Forces is a first-person shooter game on Roblox. It is notorious within the Roblox community and definitely has cemented itself in the history of the game. It was made on the 31st of August 2015 and has garnered over 1.6 billion visits since its launch. The game was made by a development team called Stylus Studios. They have garnered over 880,000 members since they established themselves. The studio was created by 3 main people that are also very important characters in this story: Shay, Lido, and Axis Angle. However, over the past few months, they have been thrown multiple reputation-ruining allegations that involve cover-ups, and other horrible things. They allegedly have covered up for creators and mods who have committed some insanely horrible actions in order to maintain their reputation. After many creators and people in the community were getting exposed, the creators of Stylus Studios, namely Lido, Shay, and Axis, have attempted to cover up almost every situation. But on top of this, the creators themselves have also been exposed for saying some horrible things as well. See, this all started with a YouTuber called Strider, a Phantom Forces YouTuber with over 120,000 subscribers. On January 10th of 2025, he would upload a video titled The Dark Truth of Phantom Forces. The video has since garnered over 560,000 views as of recording, in which it would detail some insanely horrible actions committed by moderators and content creators connected with Stylus Studios, as well as the creators of Phantom Forces. This would be followed by a response to Stylus Studios' response and an update video with more horrifying information. However, before I show you the evidence presented against Stylus Studios and people associated with them, I must first explain how their content creator program works for the game. It is a program that is made for people who make videos and content surrounding Phantom Forces. It would benefit the creators by giving them things like in-game credits, a YouTube tag, and even custom skins, as well as billboards in games on some of the maps. However, they would later stop doing the custom skins. But why? Countless creators were being exposed that uploaded content for the game that had been giving these skins. One skin had been given to a player who would later be exposed and convicted. However, Stylus Studios took multiple years to remove the skins. I will get back to this later in the video, but keep that in mind. Meet Bella the Bat Pony. He was a Phantom Forces Twitch streamer who deleted all of his streams and accounts after getting exposed. It would all start during 2021 when proof of him messaging a 13-year-old while being 19 got released. After establishing the victim's age, Bella would go on to act extremely weird and would almost instantly bring up the topic of consent. After being exposed, the victim would soon reach out to get help, which would lead to Stylish Studios kicking Bella the Bat Pony from their content creator program. They would also ban him from their Discord server, however it took them over 1 year to do this after the incident occurred. Bella was another creator who was given a custom skin in the game, which would later be removed, however it took Stylish Studios multiple years to do so. However, during a live stream by Spirals, which we will get into later in the video, something else much worse would be exposed.
In many of these cases, these people go straight back to what they're doing, especially if nobody knows. In that video, one of the most disgusting examples of a child, Bella the Bat Pony, a 19-year-old, 13-year-old boy, was only just removed out of a Phantom Forces Discord the day of the Strider upload because Stylist said nothing. This person kept going, not in different Roblox communities, they kept going in the Phantom Forces community because no one knew. Their lack of publicizing this information is to save themselves and directly put children in danger. That is not an allegation, that is not a claim, it is a fact and it is on your screen right now.
Duke was a bad business YouTuber and Twitch streamer who also made videos on Phantom Forces. He would gain a little over 10,000 subscribers before being exposed during 2022. But during that time, he would suddenly stop making videos after claiming that he got banned from bad business. The reason for the ban was because he got exposed for talking to a minor in late 2021. In this screenshot, it can be seen him talking about the victim turning 18. He would soon begin saying some very weird roleplay type stuff to the victim. He would also be exposed for sending this picture, which was a photo of his persona, to a minor. It would also be exposed that he had been talking to multiple different minors. He sent suggestive messages towards other Phantom Forces YouTubers in the community while knowing that they were as well. Bad Business would find out about all of this and would quickly ban Duke. However, they would avoid going public about the information and just left it to a private ban. They would later be criticized for this. Phantom Forces was also made aware of this incident, however chose to keep him on their content creator program anyway. This gave Duke a position of power within the community, although he had sent this extremely disturbing stuff to multiple. When confronted by Strider, the admins of Phantom Forces confirmed to him that they don't even bother verifying the age of their users, despite having such horrible people within the community. They would instead choose to brush it off and put the blame on Discord to sort the problem out. One of the main reasons that Duke was even let into the creator program in the first place, and another thing that supports Jake not being removed from the creator program straight away, is because Duke and Axis Angle, one of the 3 creators of Phantom Forces, had a somewhat close friendship with each other. Axis and Duke had also allegedly met up in the past in person. A YouTuber by the name of Jax with over 79,000 subscribers also would confront Duke about everything that had been exposed. And after being confronted, Duke would almost immediately deactivate his YouTube channel. But what was weird is that he would refuse to delete his Twitch channel. After Jax confronted Duke, he would go on to make a video titled The Duke Files Part 1. The video would expose almost everything that Duke has done. Duke has also convinced a 16-year-old victim to let him drive to her house. He got the victim to lie to her parents and say that he was 19 years old, despite him actually being 22 at the time. And to make himself look younger, he would also shave his beard off to meet up. He also attempted to cross state lines to meet up with the however, had second thoughts after having a nightmare that he got caught. But in the end, he did actually meet up with the with her, despite the fact that this person was a 16-year-old child while he was a 22-year-old adult. Months after the incident happened, Duke would get his mum to take him to the police station so he could turn himself in. However, he would later go back on this attitude, acting like he did nothing wrong in the first place.
Some guy tried to tell me that it's sickening that I went live today. What happened happened. We can't change the past. That's not who I am. I'm sorry for the things that happened. I am from the people that are holding a grudge. That's all I can say. So,
but thankfully he would later be arrested, where he is serving time behind bars to this day. He would be charged for one enticement of a child to meet for purposes. Hal, also known as Forklift Certified, was a Stylist Studios moderator who randomly disappeared without a trace. Despite being a notable person within the community, he would be exposed for sending countless suggestive and inappropriate messages to within the public Stylist Studios Discord server, harassing a girl who was only 15 years old. He also shared in the public Phantom Forces Discord his thoughts on lockdown. He had somewhat of an obsession with hundreds of messages sent about the topic in the Discord server, the same Discord server that was confirmed had no real age verification, with an admin claiming that it isn't their problem to ban people under the age of 13. Hal would continue moderating for years until finally someone exposed him through a very lengthy Google document. When Stylist moderators were confronted by Strider about why Hal was banned, one of them just sent a shrugging face, with some moderators straight up ignoring Strider. Even when Strider had previous messages with the mods, he still got ignored, with one mod confirming that he left because of getting threats and getting doxxed, despite them knowing what actually happened. When asked why Hal was receiving these threats, the moderators simply made the excuse that the messages Hal was exposed for were just drunken mistakes and that he is innocent. He would also claim that the messages were a one-off thing, however the proof says otherwise, with hundreds of messages that are months apart from each other, which, let me remind you, is the same server linked to a Roblox game played by children where they have no real age verification. However, Strider would try to confront them about this, but when looking back on it, noticed that all incriminating messages against Hal had been deleted or removed.
Oh, by the way, my name is Thomas. You could call me Wolf Dogs. I prefer Wolf Dogs better than anything else, but I'm 18. I love playing Roblox.
Meet Wolf Dogs, a Phantom Forces content creator who also designed maps for the game. He would be exposed during 2021 for sending something very disturbing to a The maps that he designed for Phantom Forces were Jungle and Blizzard. He got exposed for sending his own photos to a After this happened, it did cause the maps to be removed, however not for a very long time. When Stylist Studios found out about the situation, they failed to notify the public, instead keeping it behind the scenes. His YouTube channel has since been deleted, however his developer page for Roblox is still up. The reason it's a problem that Stylist didn't publicly release the information is that after being exposed, Wolf Dogs would still be active on his developer page, and would post this hinting at possibly going to a Roblox convention that would have been full of Ma Demon, or otherwise known as Ma, was the main contractor for Phantom Forces behind all of their balance changes and things of that nature. In other words, he was the fourth most important person in the Phantom Forces team for the game. He has been responsible for many additions that are still in the game to this day. He was another who was very good friends with Axis Angle, I mentioned earlier was one of the 3 creators of Phantom Forces. Ma would be exposed for talking very suggestively towards a He would roleplay furry scenarios in DMs with this Ma, and would act extremely weird and make very suggestive comments towards them. He would even send links to NSFW furry images to this person, but like every other situation involving a and the Phantom Forces community, Stylist Studios, who was behind the game, decided to sweep all of this under the rug. This was until Ma made a random announcement in the Stylist Studios Discord about some random game called Prison Architect, and the very next day after this announcement, which also happened to be April Fool's Day, he would announce to everyone that he is stepping down for quote, mental health reasons. But we all know the true reason as to why he had to leave Stylist Studios. Stylist Studios was more than aware of the actions of Ma, however they let him make up any random excuse to leave, rather than actually taking accountability and alerting the public of what he had done, which makes a lot of sense considering Ma and Axis Angle are still friends to this day. Axis would later go on stream to say that it wasn't even that bad what Ma did.
Like, Ma didn't even do anything bad, like, to be completely
completely gone.
This takes us onto Willow, the very next contractor that replaced Ma after he got exposed during 2021, which not too long after being hired would be exposed for doing the exact same thing as Ma. He would send a video of him playing with himself to a 16-year-old Ma. Stylist Studios, however, chose to do something that they normally don't do. They chose not to cover this situation up. A statement would be made about the Willow situation, however, it would later be deleted. However, what happened next was extremely weird. Axis Angle would make an announcement to the public Stylist Studios Discord server, trying to explain that it was just a mistake that Willow made, and that they are considering rehiring him, despite the explicit content that he had sent to him. But after that announcement, countless underage victims would step forward to speak up about the things Willow has said and done to them. This is where Axis Angle would pretty much be forced to confirm that Willow can't return to the community. After Willow was removed from the community, a user by the name of Sid9 would be their replacement as a contractor for Phantom Forces. Strider would get into direct contact with Sid9, however, something just felt off about them. What makes it even more weird is that the Sid9 account was created on November 10th, 2022, the very day after Willow had been banned from the community. Strider would then get into contact with an ex-contractor who would directly confirm that although they don't know who was currently running the Sid9 account, it had been accessed by Willow in the past and could possibly be them on the account to this day. This would mean that allegedly, Stylist Studios rehired a for their game under a completely new alias. And who knows if they still do this with different staff members who had been exposed. And let me remind you, the Stylist Studios Discord server does not verify the ages of their users, and said that they don't care if children are in the server because it's, quote, not their problem. The next user we will be looking at is a moderator that worked for Stylist Studios. For this video, I will be calling them Leafman. The reason for this is because their actual name translates to something very weird in English that he confirmed was the reason for his name. This is the same person who said they don't want to ban 13-year-olds, instead using the cop-out that it's Discord's responsibility to sort it out. In the public general chat within the Stylist Studios Discord server, he would post this very suggestive image to a chat full of mice. He also sent NSFW drawings of Hitler to a mice. He would also be exposed for talking about some extremely disgusting things directly to the When confronted by Strider, Leafman would claim that he has since changed and that he, quote, served his sentence. We will disprove this in a sec, but keep that in mind. And in the very same conversation, he would add that the he was talking to was, quote, not even in his taste profile, whatever that means. However, despite claiming that he has changed, not even a few months ago, he would be exposed for saying similar disgusting things in the Stylist Discord. He has even been caught complaining in a public chat that Stylist banned someone for sending multiple gifs of a child. Which, let me remind you for the 1000th time, this is a moderator for a public Discord server connected to Phantom Forces that doesn't bother verifying the ages of their users, which, might I add, happened not even 2 months ago on January 5th of 2025. Stylist Studios was in fact told about his actions, however, as they always do, brushed the situation off to avoid any responsibility. Leafman has also been exposed for saying the hard R 571 times in a row. I think you guys get the point of how bad of a person Leafman is. Which takes us to another mod who goes under the name of Natalie the Fox Mermaid, who we will talk about later was the same mod that tried to justify the actions of Axis. Natalie also stepped down from moderator after Strider released his first video on the series, however also exposed that all of the admins knew about everything the whole time. They also had an account registered on a website that allows users to talk about NSFW furry related stuff. In this screenshot we can see Natalie requesting for help to get Roblox furry scripted into Roblox, from which they would download an extremely disgusting model made for Roblox that contained an animal and its private part. She has also used the excuse that because all of this happened in 2021, that it shouldn't be taken serious, which, let me remind you guys, if anybody uses that excuse that it was ages ago or whatever in an apology or response, it usually means they are trying to downplay the situation. But at least for this situation, whether it happened yesterday or 10 years ago, it doesn't really make a difference to what they did. At one stage, the mod also had an NSFW image of a furry as their profile picture. This was during their moderation with Stylish Studios, the same server linked to Phantom Forces, which is age rated 5 years or older, which takes us to the next disgusting moderator. This is Jess, another mod who worked for Stylish Studios, and who would have guessed it, they also have been exposed for something similar to every other person on this list.
This is a person that is staffed right now! Right now! And you're not gonna be able to find them by this name, and I can't wait to tell you why. I can't wait to tell you why. This is just a public fetishist that has absolutely no shame and no issue whatsoever sharing their tendencies with children in a Roblox server. I would like to mention, this is a Nitro holder. This is not even their Discord profile. This was their stylist profile. They handpicked a cropped profile picture and a banner. They handpicked these for stylists. This was not just what they had on Discord and they forgot they were a mod on a Roblox game. They picked these for stylists. We're gonna pull up dates here. This is September 26th, 2022, right? The next message, 4 days later. Like I said, I actually can't show you. I legitimately cannot show you guys the full image here. This was some crazy change your life for the worst if you saw it anyways. Here we are again in December with more cropped as their profile picture and just the same banner. They got told to change the profile picture, which they did only by cropping it. They kept it, it was still born. Once again, this is the second report, and this is where the meat of this report comes from when I scroll down here. I'm looking forward to termination regardless of what Discord hits me back with. From what I can say, I'm looking forward to termination. Is this still happening? Access angles and culprits seem to have handled the situation. So no. Taking steps to separate their name from whatever content was tied to it. This person was given a new identity in stylist.
They also had Ma, who we talked about earlier, added on their friends list months after he had been exposed. Strider would actually go on to confront Jess, asking if they ever had inappropriate exchanges with a where Jess can be seen replying with, "No, do you have any reason to believe that I have?" hinting at the possibility that someone has proof against them. Which takes us to one of the most important people in Phantom Forces, Axis Angle, who is one of the 3 creators of the game. We have already covered that he has not only excused countless terrible people in the Stylist Discord server, that again doesn't verify its users, but he has also allegedly covered up for them and continued being friends with them after they got exposed. If we take a look at Axis Angle's public Twitter that is linked to his Discord account, we can see that on many instances he has reposted some very weird and suggestive furry content. The problem with this is that if you were maybe a child who just wanted to find an update for the game, would unexpectedly come across this disgusting content even if you were just searching for a game update. This is the official Stylish Studios Twitch account that is directly linked to the game. In one of the streams in the last 6 months, Axis Angle can be seen on live drinking lots of alcohol. He would also show the viewers his very suggestive furry mousepad, which, keep in mind, this was directly associated with Phantom Forces, a game that has a 90% kid audience. The stream would later be restricted by Twitch, however this was after he had shown the suggestive furry mousepad. However, Axis would also openly talk about on this live some incredibly disturbing things to the young audience.
So the reason why Mar was let go is because there was some bad, I don't know, like people got wind that he did stuff that wasn't super savory in 2018, but that was like a long time ago. And but that wasn't the reason why we let him go. It was because I think there was a lot of hostility. There was a lot of bad PR.
He would also go on to say that what Ma did, that we talked about earlier, was nothing but a simple mistake that people should move on from. In this clip, he also confirms that they only banned him when the public found out about it, not including that he had known way before the public what Ma was doing.
Oh, that's some peer pressure. I'm not against peer pressure, by the way. I don't know, like in my opinion, there are things like down here, which are kind of like, yeah, it sucks, you know, like don't do it again. And then there's like
a 16-year-old boy, right? And there's like a I'm like digging my grave, I guess.
Axis has also recently removed blood from Phantom Forces so that the age rating could be lowered to 5 years and older, allowing for more younger people to be involved in this disgusting community that, to be completely honest, just isn't moderated by the right people. Axis would also be exposed for saying some incredibly disturbing shit as well. These messages were from 2016. Keep in mind, these messages were sent to the public Stylish Studios Discord server. Stylish Studios have also blacklisted the name of the person who exposed the messages from Axis and bans users who mention the situation. After people found out about what Axis had said, he automatically went into full panic mode and would hold a meeting with the entire staff team to talk about it. When he found out that people could see his staff meeting through a third-party Discord client, he decided to make a rule that bans people who use them, which is very weird considering he doesn't even properly moderate that are in his server. After the staff meeting, they pretty much nuked their own server, deleting and restarting almost every public Discord channel, wiping almost 9 years of messages. They did this so they could avoid anything similar happening in the future. Since this was a very public situation, you would think that Axis, or at least Stylish Studios, would apologize for what he said in the past. Well, if you thought that, then you would be wrong. Stylish Studios were going to cover up the situation by getting one of the main Phantom Forces developers to make a statement about what happened. The statement was full of half-ass excuses for the behavior, which I assume was made so Axis could once again avoid responsibility to maintain whatever reputation he currently has. The message is completely bullshit. You can pause to read if you don't believe me, but it's basically just endless deflection and excuses. Axis would also be exposed for more inappropriate things said around in the Phantom Forces Discord. In this particular chat, he was talking about the topic of and in the very same conversation would bring up a middle school bathroom. It has also been exposed that he showed a very weird image that contained a child on his furry account that for obvious reasons I can't show in this video. Axis also owned this Roblox group that when reverse image searched by Ruben Sims moderators exposed that it is connected to a fur affinity community. A developer from Roblox themselves also came out and shared that him and many others have tried to get Stylish Studios removed from RDC, where Roblox eventually just allowed them, which makes it much worse when you realize that the developers at RDC were allowed to drink alcohol openly around children. A Phantom Forces YouTuber who goes under the name Spirals would start a live stream and expose a lot more stuff against Stylish Studios. Most notably, he would show proof that the admins admit they aren't doing anything to Hal, who we talked about earlier.
Hal evidence was laid out in detail at the beginning of my conversation with Phantom Forces Studios, Stylish Studios developer Lido Zinnemann, acknowledged it was wrong, and decided to take no action because, in my eyes, he was not threatened. After it was reported that he had had a interaction with a minor in the server, and after he had denied it, after he had had individualized conversations with people where they were like, hey, did you do this? Straight up, he said no. Hell no, that stuff is messed up. I straight up ban people for that. This is March of 2023. This is not last year. This is coming up on 2 years ago. They knew.
He goes on to speak about how the messages from Hal magically vanished after that was sent.
Next image, March 21st, March 21st, consecutive single day conversation. This was not broken up over days, over weeks, even over hours. The Hal messages, all like 200 or 300 of them got deleted in a single night by one person. And when I asked about it, he didn't remember what we were talking about. So that's pretty crazy to me.
He also confirms that Hal only left the server after Ruben Sim joined, trying to investigate the situation.
Knew exactly what was said and did not care because he was not threatened at the time. The day Ruben Sim showed up, Hal left the server. It was immediately enough for him. And a large YouTuber came in and said, I will make this information public if you guys don't do anything. That was the day where it wasn't okay.
He also continues to expose one of the main developers of Phantom Forces.
But the developers of the game said, I want to make games, not deal with every 2 years. So knowing who works under us is my first concern. You see, this message is from March 19th. I told this developer, well, you're working with somebody right now that appears to be a child predator. He said, yeah, take this to someone else. If I take action on Hal, I will be blocking you. I'm tired of the abuse. So while yes, you might see action, I for one want you to stop dragging the people around you through BS. Grooming a minor is BS, guys. Just BS, man. And you gotta knock that shit off.
Spirals also talks about Lido's response to everything that happened, which if you remember, Lido is one of the 3 creators of Phantom Forces and directly owns Stylish Studios.
A guy who isn't clean of literally anything? Do they know? Like the meme, guys, like the funny Discord meme. Lido's actually a big, funny Discord meme guy. That's Lido's summary. That's his emotional summary of this whole situation. You guys are freaking driving me crazy. Also, he was the person who generated the document where he took, I think, a record low amount of accountability, maybe a microgram of accountability. All they want right now is for their baby player base that can't access YouTube and doesn't know any of this happened to keep playing and to keep pumping Robux in their pocket.
Spirals would finish off the stream by saying this.
I'm not here to supposedly say something. I am here to show people I was snuffed out of this community unexplained. I was removed from the content creator program. I was banned from a server that has a moderation point system where they didn't give me points. They just banned. When I asked why, they said this was a long time coming. I said, okay, can I get like even one example? No.
After Strider dropped part 1 of the series, which garnered over 500,000 views, Stylish Studios would pretty much be forced to respond. This is where they posted a Google document responding directly to Strider's video. I was gonna cover everything about the response in this video, but not only is it directed at Strider, but he gives a lot more context and breaks down the response one by one. So the description of today's video will be a link to find out everything that was in the response and how it got debunked. I highly suggest you check that out after this video. This video was also made to spread awareness to Stylish Studios' actions, who endlessly have been covering up for others, late to banning horrible users, and overall very fishy and weird behavior towards people that should be exiled the second anything weird comes out about them. However, let's talk about the cover-up that Stylish Studios tried to make after part 1 of Strider's series. After the video was released, it led to the Stylish Studios Discord server being completely shut down, as well as deleting old Discord channels that were from 2016. The new ones that replaced them got deleted after Strider's video was released so that nobody could talk in the Discord. Strider would also self-promote his first video on the series in the content creator channel on the Stylish Studios Discord server. However, they would delete the message swiftly after, and when confronted, Strider would just be ignored. Strider was also permanently banned from the Stylish Studios Discord only hours after his video released, proving that they obviously have a problem with the guy for simply exposing within the community and some shady actions of the moderators and developers. They also banned Strider from the in-game Roblox chat and removed any perks that he was given for being a content creator, which, let me remind you, they did this all within hours of seeing Strider's video, which contained no misinformation and purely provided the facts of the situation. But if we remember what I talked about earlier in the video with the custom skins that they gave to content creators that were exposed for being convicted child predators, they took several years to remove them, and also took multiple years to ban some members of the community who had been exposed for talking inappropriately with minors. They also would censor Strider's name, as well as if you were to talk about access in the in-game Roblox chat. They even turned off the game chat completely for a brief period of time after Strider's video came up, however reversed this change after realizing how guilty it makes them look. They even locked down the Phantom Forces subreddit. There was a staff member from Stylish Studios that we talked about earlier that also justified what happened, claiming that Strider's video was purely just an attempt to raid the server, even though he made no references to do so in his video, and pretty much purely pointed out facts. The main problem with Stylish Studios is that they need a change in moderation, or the owners need to at least stop this behavior, or else it eventually will get taken down by Roblox, and then there will be no Phantom Forces. I know most developers, when they get to that stage of owning a big ass game, just care about the money, but there will be none of that left if you continue to misuse your platform. The fact that you are leading a massive community that millions of per year interact with and not making it safe for them is a real big problem. Which takes us onto one of Roblox's worst furry YouTubers, Nitro Lord, who would get exposed in February. So who exactly is Nitro Lord? Nitro Lord, who also goes under NCrystal81 and Law Bunny, is a 20-year-old furry who also does YouTube. He would start his YouTube career on the 18th of March 2016. Over the history of his channel, he has acquired over 150,000 subscribers and over 24 million channel views. He would blow up in 2022 for his nostalgic Roblox lore videos that have each garnered millions of views. However, recently he has been exposed for some deplorable things, mainly to do with his online furry persona. But before we get into the details of that, let me start by explaining what exactly a furry is. A furry is a fan of anthropomorphic animals, aka human-like animals. They usually have a bad reputation because quite a considerable amount of them end up like who we will be talking about in today's video. I will go further into detail towards the end of the video, but why exactly is Nitro Lord one of the furries that give them this bad reputation? This all takes place around May of 2024 when YouTuber Green Lego Cats was discussing with other YouTubers on whether or not to invite Nitro Lord to their private YouTuber Discord server. Upon this discussion, they would investigate into Nitro Lord and do a brief background check to make sure everything was good. And to put it simply, things were definitely not looking good. When Twitter likes were visible, Green Lego Cats and the other YouTubers noticed that Nitro Lord had been interacting with NSFW furry tweets from his main Nitro Lord Twitter account. After discovering this, Green Lego Cats and the other YouTubers would feel the need to investigate further. This is where they would come across Nitro Lord's alternative furry Twitter account. The account went under the name Law Bunny and was interacting and even reposting some insanely weird furry content. The content was very frequent on the account and would mark the beginning of the end for Nitro Lord's career. They would find some very concerning tweets connected to the Law Bunny account, such as him following multiple different from the account, as well as multiple NSFW accounts. However, it only got a lot more worse. He was reposting some very disgusting content of furry feet. Nitro Lord would also retweet these really suggestive pictures of puppy furry art and size differences. The characters in the tweet didn't show any NSFW body parts, however the characters weren't wearing clothes at the same time. This alt account was also publicly linked to his Roblox alt account. That was also very easy to find if you were suspecting Nitro Lord fan. This means there was a direct link to this disgusting content on the Roblox platform. And before any furry watching this wants to comment, an adult likes adult things, why are you shaming him? That is not the purpose of this video, as you will find out very soon. But you need to realize that not only is the content very wrong to indulge, it is much worse considering the account followed multiple and was easily discoverable if you were a fan of his. Nitro Lord has a predominantly Roblox audience, and with that comes a lot of younger fans. And as creators, especially in the Roblox niche, we have a responsibility to ensure we don't glorify such content to the kids that watch the videos, which is exactly what Nitro Lord has failed to do. He would often interact and share this kind of content publicly to the people that looked up to him. Many of these people were kids, and glorifying this type of content can give them the idea that this kind of behavior is normal and accepted in the real world, when it's the complete opposite. Nitro Lord would be contacted in private about everything Green Lego Cats could find. However, he would start making his alt accounts harder to find and would also remove it from being linked to his other Roblox account. A few months would go by and nothing was really talked about surrounding Nitro Lord. However, soon enough, in September, Ruben Sim, the massive Roblox YouTuber, would rightfully call out Nitro Lord in a tweet. After this call out, Nitro Lord videos would start popping up on YouTube everywhere, with the community investigating into his weird furry accounts to find anything else he was hiding. Nitro Lord would then issue a public apology. However, it wouldn't mention how he interacted with the furry account with his main Nitro Lord Twitter. He also failed to mention how the account was also linked to Roblox at one point. Green Lego Cats and Nitro Lord would then get into contact with each other about what happened and the importance of their audiences not seeing this type of content. This all took place over Instagram DMs, where Nitro Lord can be seen incoherently taking responsibility for it. Following this would be an apology video uploaded to his alt account, Niwo Lord, where he would explain why his actions were wrong and why it's important to protect from the type of content he was actively reposting on Twitter. Ruben Sim would comment on the video about the information that Nitro Lord forgot to address in this apology. Aside from the missing details, Nitro Lord did seem to fully understand his mistakes and would state that the call-out served as a much-needed wake-up call. However, not even a week after he made the apology video, something much worse would be discovered. On a brand new alt account that went under the name Law the Bun, him and his girlfriend, who went by Venom, would announce that they were were hosting an in-person all-ages furry freak party where kink gear was allowed. On one of the posters that was advertising this event, it would specifically state that it's all ages but takes place on Kink Night. This poster would be signal boosted by Nitro Lord himself on his alt account. On Friday the 1st of November, a freaky furry party would take place. Right next to a furry convention that was hosting a Kink Night, Nitro Lord and his girlfriend would host their own sort of after party for the event. However, the event was advertised to all ages, despite in the very same sentence stating that it was on a Kink Night, with the party itself even allowing kink gear. In the very same month, Nitro Lord would upload his live reaction to a document that somebody made on him, where he not only confirms that the party happened, but also attempts to defend the all ages furry freak party in question. This is what he would say on the live stream.
Lord the Bun and the party. Okay, this part, if this is what I think it is, this is starting to make me kind of mad. Lord the Bun is the username that I came up with for my new account that was going to post like more adult stuff, but be completely and totally separate from Nitro Lord. I was not going to advertise this anywhere. I was going to just like have it up and just like away from any space. Image on the right was tweeted by Nitro Lord's girlfriend and then retweeted by Nitro himself. Image on the left is supposedly the same party on the official For Apocalypse website. Nitro Lord was advertising an 18+ kink dance party as all ages, along with his girlfriend. So, yeah. This is misdirection here. This is what this is. The sentence here says, Nitro Lord was advertising, and retweeted by Nitro himself. What this implies is that I retweeted this advertisement on my main account. That is not true. So yes, I did retweet this flyer privately in my own personal circle that nobody was supposed to find out about. Yep, you're right, I am Lord of the Bun. I will admit to that. But that is a private account. That was until they announced the party. Nitro Lord and his girlfriend at Silly Cow Thing sent out an invitation for a party marked as all ages that for some reason allowed kink gear. Okay, so I get how this can look a little bit weird. But you gotta understand how furry conventions work. So, basically, minors kind of leave furry conventions, generally speaking, by like 7 p.m. So, by 9 p.m. For Apocalypse, there were no minors to be spoken of. It was just adults. And I can speak on the fact that that it was only adults that attended that party, because I was there at that party. And I saw only adults. This isn't like really proof or anything, it's just kind of like intuitive. Basically, the party didn't end up being that popular because it was like picked out at a spot that was kind of like secluded away from the hotel. So like the majority of the people that came to it were like people in me and my girlfriend's friend circle, and they're all 18 and up. So I can promise you without a shadow of a doubt, there were no minors at this party. By all ages, it's really just meant like all adult ages. Cause like, I believe there was a 40-year-old at that party. It's not something that kids should see. Don't get me wrong. But my point is, just because there is a meeting where people are wearing that gear does not mean that people are committing NSFW acts in that gear. You can even see on this flyer it says takes place on Kink Night. Kink Night is like an official, like, sanctioned thing by Furpocalypse? And do you think that Furpocalypse would allow minors to be there when Kingfight was taking place? If they were, they should be arrested. But they're not, because they're responsible.
He would even comment on the situation under his alt YouTube channel, where he would even attempt to throw his own girlfriend under the bus for the poster, despite what he said on the livestream. Nitro Lord would even comment on one of Green Lego Cat's videos ages ago, where GLC would talk about Roblox promoting a gross furry infection game, where Nitro Lord can be seen defending the furry fandom, specifically mentioning how it is not fetishized, despite it being later exposed him fetishizing much worse content than what we have covered so far. Even when the whole Phantom Forces community was exposed by Strider, which I just made a video on by the way, so make sure to watch that after this one, since the whole Phantom Forces situation specifically contained a lot of furries, I guess Nitro Lord felt the need to comment about the situation and defend the furry fandom, which is very ironic looking back on it. However, after Green Lego Cat's first video on Nitro Lord, he would then be made aware that Nitro Lord had yet another alt account where he was posting weird fetishized furry content, but this time it was even worse than before, hiding some very disgusting things. The account went under the name Lil Pupcake. It was very well hidden, but not well hidden enough, as it was soon discovered after the Roblox community was made aware of his other furry account and the all ages freak party he hosted. As we can see from the bio of his account, the persona was aged as young as 3 years old. He would also address his own girlfriend as mummy in the bio, which I find personally weird. However, it doesn't compare to what we will be looking at next. The Twitter account exposed that he would actively retweet cub/baby fur content, which if you don't know, and simply put, is basically just baby animal. This was also paired with posts of these cubs with soiled diapers, breastfeeding, and even them put into very suggestive positions. Many say that baby fur and diaper fur content, which is what Nitro Lord was actively posting to the account, is in nature. Nitro Lord would even agree to this in a clip I will be showing in a second. The clip I'm talking about came from a confrontation where YouTubers like Ruben Sim, Jax, Green Lego Cats, and Schlep would get into a call with Nitro Lord to confront him about everything. Here is the clip of Nitro Lord agreeing that the kind of content that he was posting is pedophilic in nature.
Am I wrong in saying that diaper furs and baby furs are like a thing?
There is some truth to that, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad you agree.
Yeah.
You're not into stuff, are you?
No. Yeah, we agreed on that topic there of the thing that we just discussed with like the diapers and stuff like that.
Diaper and
yeah.
baby fur being
yeah. Yeah.
The call would also contain Nitro Lord's admissions of owning the weird furry fetish accounts.
Nitro Lord, how many personas do you have?
I got the Nitro the Dragon one that I use for like the mascot channel thing, you know? And obviously you guys know about the other one, the rabbit one.
Lord Bunny?
Yeah, Lord Bunny. And I also have a dog one that I don't really do much with, generally speaking.
Little puppy.
So,
right? Little Pupcake. Right? You know this one?
The reason why I lied to you and said that I have like no association with it and find it weird is because I know that you find it weird.
And eventually, Nitro Lord would admit that his alt accounts 100% had a sexual undertone to them.
There's age regression.
Yeah.
And then there's where they make it.
Yeah.
And the making it. But you're saying you don't actually agree with that.
Like
I'm looking
like,
at the
like
accounts you follow on this account,
affection.
And like half of them are accounts.
I cannot in good conscience
believe that this is not inherently sexual. I'm not saying absolutely every post on the account is inherently, but there's quite a few that I feel like, as another example, is this one. Like, this is a furry child pissing itself and being excited by that. Like, I feel like that is inherently, if it was just a diaper, it'd be different.
Let me make this very clear.
You said there's age regression.
Yeah.
And then there's where they make it.
Yeah.
And the making it. But you're saying you don't actually agree with that.
No. Here's the thing. If you make it it is.
Okay.
But like freaking
what do you
I
get
don't
out of looking at it then?
It's just like I said, I told you, like some autistic people use it as like a coping mechanism.
Okay.
Like it's just
screenshot in chat. Is this not sex?
I mean, I don't find it sexual. I just like.
However, looking back at the Lil Pupcake account, we can see that there was a lot of horrible stuff on the account that mostly followed a baby and child theme. It would often involve things like daycares, onesies, and diapers. One post even included a disgusting picture of an adult furry seemingly getting pleasure out of having its diaper spoiled while also being touched up by a ghost hand. Another post from the account would include a partially adult furry carrying a baby furry that seemingly alluded to the baby wetting its diaper so it could feed more. The account would also repost some very weird content, such as this super suggestive scene of a furry baby in a diaper being held by an adult furry that was wearing nothing but a Speedo. Most other retweets and posts include the theme of kids, furry kids, or kid-like characters soiling their diapers, with one post showing a furry kid wanting to change another furry kid's diaper. After being confronted about this appalling behavior by YouTubers like Green Lego Cats, Ruben Sim, and Schlepp, Nitro Lord would deactivate the Lil Pupcake account after the call ended, then would proceed to delete his main Twitter account around the same time the situation went public to the Roblox community. He would also take to YouTube and upload a video titled "I failed at my job," where he seems to take some accountability, however avoids addressing anything in specific, and would even mention that he wasn't aware of the furry freak party poster containing all ages.
YouTube is my job, specifically making YouTube videos about Roblox, which attracts an audience with a lot of in it. Recently, I realized that I failed to do a crucial part of that job, which is keeping safe on my channel. For context, you can watch Green Lego Cats 123's video, but here's the TLDW. Earlier this year, for about a couple months, I reposted NSFW content on an alternate Twitter account, and liked some of it on my main, not considering the fact that those accounts might be seen by mine. For a short time, that alternate account was linked to my main. More recently, on a private alt, I reposted a flyer that my girlfriend made for a party she hosted, without reading it all the way through and seeing that it said that it was for all ages but takes place on Kink Night at the furry convention the party was to be held at. Even though no attend or could have attended that party due to the fact that they're not allowed at the convention on Kink Night, it was still extremely poor wording that could have potentially enticed a minor to try and attend anyway. That flyer should have read 18+. These were both stupid of me to do. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm really sorry I did. Moving forward, I promise to do everything in my power to keep this YouTube channel and all its associated social media accounts a 100% friendly zone. It's something I've already been doing since I initially realized I f***ed up, and it's something I will continue to do going into the future. You deserve better, and I'm going to try my absolute hardest to deliver that to you.
After the entire situation erupted, Nitro Lord would then take to YouTube saying that he will be releasing a response to Green Lego Cat's video, which he wouldn't end up doing a video response, however did respond in a lengthy Google document. The response was horrible to say the least. It would attempt to take Green Lego Cats down with him by stating, but considering that Green Lego Cats seems to think it's okay for his audience to hear about the situation. This attempt to somehow take down Green Lego Cats for spreading awareness to the disgusting shit that Nitro Lord posted was an insanely horrible reach. In the response, he also tried going back on what he said on the livestream about the furry freak party by stating that so many thoughts were bouncing around in my head that I couldn't keep track of them all. I wasn't really involved with the party and I don't support the wording that was used on that flyer. The response was worse than horrible, but I think you guys get the point. However, after the situation went public, many YouTubers started to cover the situation, and the case of Nitro Lord just kept getting even more weird. Nitro Lord would even, funnily enough, private his infamous "Why am I a furry now" video. After all of this, you would think that Nitro Lord would leave the internet and stop this weird behavior. We don't know of any furry fetish Twitter accounts that he operates now. However, the activity coming from his Roblox account is just weird to say the least. His Roblox account, formerly known as Nitro Lord with a capital I instead of an L, has undergone some changes, including the username, avatar, and even some items. The account would be renamed to Lightning Cobra 72, which still remains to this day, with some randomly generated display name, a new avatar, and some newly acquired limited items. After users in the Roblox community discovered this, there was many rumors circulating that Nitro Lord could have possibly sold the account. However, upon reading the bio that says, "Not selling this account, too much sentimental value, just shedding the limbs, I've accomplished all I wanted on this platform, and I don't feel like sticking around to get harassed or berated. Thanks for the fun times, peace out." The bio contained this somewhat weird cryptic message that did confirm that the account was not sold, but something still felt off. The main theory people came up with is that Nitro Lord is quitting or going into hiding and using the account to cash in on items, similar to what such as Fave and Notive did years after being exposed. However, I decided to take a look for myself. What I found is a huge dip in the RAP, possibly indicating to him selling some of his items. Although the bio claims that the account will not be used, it was last seen online 2 days ago. I think it's very possible that he is simply holding onto the account and pretending to not use it so that he can continue using it in-game while avoid being discovered. But what do I personally think of all this? Well, to start, I want to point out that I do not have a problem with furries, and I think that if you identify as such, then good for you. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting other people or yourself. But I definitely don't understand or agree with the of animals, which is a very common theme within the furry community. However, do I consider the actions of Nitro Lord as I wouldn't consider him a however, the things that he was posting about fetishizing and the fact that one of his accounts had followed makes it very concerning. He's definitely a creepy person who needs help, and I definitely think he needs to leave the internet until he can realize how wrong the content is. This takes us on to the next person I exposed in February, who scammed his own fans and friends out of over $90,000 US worth of limited Roblox items. Kaiser is a Roblox TikToker with over 360,000 followers. He posts videos on memes and often does skits on his TikTok, with the most viewed one having over 11.8 million views. But what if I told you this was all a lie? Well, we will get into that later. However, what sparks my interest is the fact that he is verified on Roblox with only 50,000 followers and owns almost 7.2 million Robux worth of limiteds. But the main reason we will be investigating Kaiser today is because over the past few weeks there have been many allegations coming out against him, with him allegedly botting his views and followers in order to gain the trust of the people that he has scammed, with almost all of his items allegedly being scammed for. However, first we must expose his history with buying fake followers and botting views on his TikTok. Kaiser used to promote a link in his bio through his Discord profile and TikTok. The link was to a site called Kaiser's MM. It was a botting service that you can use to buy followers, views, and subs for almost any platform imaginable. When we take a look at the website in question, it shows you a list of services that you can buy, such as views, subscribers, and watch time for YouTube. In this screenshot from the document, we can see that the website also sells likes and followers for Instagram. However, I decided to take a look for myself, and what I found was truly shocking. The site also sold services for TikTok, the platform that Kaiser uses for everything. And if we take a look at Kaiser's TikTok profile, we can see that some of his videos have a very strange view to like ratio, like this video that has 1.4 million views, however only has 86,000 likes, or this video that has 1.2 million views, however only got just under 60,000 likes. But without the alleged view bots, these are the views he actually gets. Just over 10,000 views, but only getting around 400 likes. Very suspicious if you ask me. However, the botting is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Kaiser's deplorable actions. You see, Kaiser is very good at using his platform to get special treatment in some some of Roblox's most popular games. However, he has a lengthy history of being egotistical and abusing the powers in these games in order to ban and silence the people that expose him. Kaiser and his friends would be called out by a user known as Graveyards, who we will be interviewing later in this video. When confronted with everything he has done, Graveyards would be treated with disrespect and not even taken seriously, although the allegations against him could potentially ruin his career if proven correct. This would be followed by Kaiser abusing his powers and kicking Graveyards from the game, sending messages through the disconnections. In this screenshot, we can see that Graveyards would be disconnected from the game for quote, defamation, unquote. After rejoining into the game, Graveyards would be disconnected once again. However, this time the message would read, "Hi stream, check Blade Ball as well," teasing to Graveyards that she had been banned from Blade Ball as well. He would continue to taunt her through these disconnection messages. However, this time would confirm that it was actually him behind all of it, with the message reading, "Hi stream, Kaiser, stop avoiding my voice chat. Congrats on peaking views though, enjoy the attention while it lasts." Kaiser would even join a TikTok livestream amongst all of this with an aggressive message that read, "Tell her to hop in VC with me, I'll put her in place." However, followers and views aren't the only thing that Kaiser has allegedly paid for. There is proof of him in a group chat with a user named Funzy, who according to the document is a well-known and scammer within the community. What you are seeing on screen now is a group owned by user Funzy that allegedly was stolen along with the game that is connected to it. And ever since, Funzy has been selling checkmarks to people that have been using the group. And as you can see in the screenshot, the group is quote, founded by both Funzy and Kaiser. And this screenshot shows another allegedly stolen group with Kaiser having a high rank within it. A friend of Kaiser, otherwise known as Kitty, is somebody that is very important when talking about the case of Kaiser. They would also get exposed on Twitter for the same reason as Kaiser in a tweet that read, "Community manager for Blade Ball, Kitty Ree, just bought 10k followers so she can get verified. She currently has developer in a group that is known for selling verified marks. Blade Ball needs to demote her before she gets the entire game deleted for this," with a thread detailing exactly what happened, stating, "She is in the group Game Funzy, which is a group known for selling verified marks. All the developers here are buying marks including Kaiser, who is a Blade Ball influencer and has 10k botted followers as well. All the bots follow the both of them, so they did it together," adding that Kitty is trying to get away with it all. She left the group as an attempt on hiding it. Her reason for being in the group was to expand her portfolio, yet she has declined to give any proof of a portfolio or even games she has worked on. The group in the second screenshot only has 98 members and the game is a horribly made cash grab. Kitty would respond to the allegations in a poor attempt at defending herself, reading, "And I'm not sure how any of this means that the tweets are directed at me. I was just getting some portfolio work and I got completely defamed, avoiding any accountability and providing zero proof." In the document exposing Kaiser, Graveyards would put it perfectly, reading, "They love to use the word defamed. You are not an A-list celebrity or real-world important figure. You're a liar that throws rocks and tries to save face when you're called out. That is all you are and ever will be." After all of this unfolded on Twitter, Kitty would be confronted in private about the situation. She would go on to admit that her profile was botted and would also prove that the group they were talking about in the tweet was the one that she was in. However, couldn't show any evidence for anything she did that was significant to Blade Ball. She would also reply to the call out tweet of her, continuing to lie about everything, stating, "I am innocent and I have sent all relevant info to Blade Ball, including my personal information, which I was trying to send to you. Blade Ball have cleared my name and can back up that I am completely innocent. You are not willing to see any personal evidence that contradicts your claim." Which is very funny, she talks like this, but when it comes to being confronted, shows nothing to prove her innocence and instead just puts the blame on Blade Ball and claims that they know she is innocent, so that means it's true. Which, let me add, is a very stupid thing to say when responding to being called out, and only shows that you are trying trying to avoid the situation. The original poster of the tweet would reply to Kitty reading, "After I posted those tweets, people replied with a lot of evidence proving you or your friend bought these followers and the rank itself," with Kitty throwing Kaiser under the bus writing, "My friend may have, but on God it has nothing to do with me. None of those screenshots provided have anything to do with me and are another person ranked in the group." This would all ultimately lead to the original poster making a follow-up tweet that read, "Yet here you are on a bot's following list specifically used for verified marks. The guy behind these bots has directly stated you got your followers from him. Please stop playing innocent." However, with this series of tweets, it not only proves that Kaiser has botted his followers and bought a checkmark, but it also proved that Kitty was guilty too, and showed everyone in the community how far she is willing to go to cover up her tracks. However, what we have talked about so far doesn't even compare to what will be exposed next. Like I said earlier, Kaiser has a history of scamming, not just random people from his fanbase, but also his own friends, with the document stating, "Kaiser ain't as rich as he fooled you all to think he is. Every limited down to his yum face has been stolen, traded for, and stolen again." Scam number 1, Poison Horns. Victim username, Bella Mur. The agreement was that Kaiser would buy her poison horns for $1,400 and she was going to buy his frozen horns for a similar price. The deal was that she sent $1,440 through PayPal and the remaining $100 through Cash App. And with Kaiser's large following and prominence within the Roblox community, she trusted him and would go first in the trade, sending Kaiser $1,440 through her PayPal and $100 through her Cash App. Then the trade would proceed. She would hand Kaiser the poison horns as well as a blue queen of the night. She would also throw in some faces, specifically Blizzard Beast Mode and Beast Mode, as well as more small limiteds. However, after Bella had traded these items off to him, she would be left ghosted. He would avoid sending anything to her, and his excuse for not paying at the time was that the money was pending, and he would keep using this excuse until he eventually blocked her on Discord, leaving victim Bella without any money or item, and Kaiser with an extra $1,500 and some really expensive limiteds. Which takes us onto scam number 2. Once again, this was another set of horns, but more specifically, fiery horns. Victim username, Civful. However, what makes this scam even more shameless is that Civ and Kaiser were friends prior to this and had been talking to each other for over a year. The agreement was that Kaiser would buy Civ's fiery horns for around $1,800. In the conversations that took place over Discord, we can see Civful literally state, "I mean, I trust you, been knowing you for a while." However, this meant nothing to Kaiser, and if anything would make it easier for him to pull this off, with Kaiser changing the agreement last minute and stating, "I'm in a call with my homie right now. He said he wants it." He would use the excuse that his IRL friend had logged into his account and scammed Civ, and would even create a fake Instagram conversation to try and back up his excuse. But why would you need to clarify to the real life homie that they are an IRL? When confronted about the scam, Kaiser would make excuse after excuse to try and cover up for himself, stating that it's not even his background in an image that he sent. I find it slightly weird that you are proving it wasn't you before Civ even asked about it. In this screenshot, we can see how manipulative Kaiser can really be, acting like he is on Civ's side, but won't help in the slightest when asked about his item or the money, somehow convincing the victim that it was actually his friend that scammed him. I mean, you can't really blame the victim here for believing Kaiser, as they had been friends for a decently long time, so why on earth would he do something like this? With this screenshot proving that the trade happened with Kaiser's current Roblox account and couldn't have possibly been his friend, considering Kaiser had been in game 10 minutes before this happened, with the victim losing not only an item worth almost $2,000, but also someone he called a friend and thought he could trust. But not even a couple days later, Kaiser would admit to scamming him and would lie about Civ trying to get in contact with him, instead adding that the victim avoided him, which is the most insane thing I think you could possibly lie about. Why on earth would someone who just lost a $2,000 item be avoiding you? Kaiser has no regard, empathy, or consideration for the people he scammed, and still scams to this day. When confronted about the scam by Civ himself, Kaiser would just brush it off, stating, "Waste of my time, have a good day," completely avoiding feeling any remorse for someone that you knew for years and that your friend allegedly just scammed. This guy is psychotic. Why would you want to idolize someone like this? If he does this to his friends and acquaintances, what do you think he'd think of you, the viewer? However, upon researching this video, I would also get into contact with Civ himself in order to allow him to explain what truly happened and how it has affected him.
So when pretty much happened, so I was trying to get rid of my limb, you know, and I reached out to Kaiser. You know, I've known him for a while now. I thought of him as a friend. I thought he also had a reputation with his TikTok. I knew he was higher up in games and stuff. So I thought I could trust him, as he's seen with the evidence and the screenshots and stuff. He scammed me out of my fire horns. The deal was 1.8K, which, you know, is a lot of money. And I was trying to get rid of him because I wasn't gonna play the game as much anymore. So I was just trying to like get rid of him and just stop playing. Once I gave him the horns, at first, okay, so this was a red flag I should have seen from the beginning. He was trying to take other small limbs from me, and I brought that up. I was like, oh, you're trying to take my other stuff too? But you know, he was like, oh, just send me the trade again. So once I did that, he accepted the trade, and I never got the money. So
Scam number 3, super happy face. Victim username, Juju. We can see in this screenshot, user Juju would offer Kaiser his super happy face item and a 200k wrap in order for Kaiser to trade up his item and give him a better one in return. As we can see here, Juju was very trusting of Kaiser and wouldn't think twice when messaging him, confirming that the trade was accepted, with the victim adding, Kaiser, I thank you so much that you're doing this. You're a great person. However, to this day, the item still hasn't been returned to Juju and he has since been ghosted by Kaiser. But that is all the confirmed scams with proof that we have as of now. But since this situation is pretty fresh, more evidence will be coming out soon. And if any of you watching have fell victim to Kaiser's scamming ways, please be sure to contact me on Discord here. The document on Kaiser also would comment on his trading graph stating, to anyone that is prominent in selling or has excessive knowledge of limiteds and trades, does this graph look natural to you? Keep in mind, he is notorious for scamming. The document also contained an allegation made from a user on TikTok who goes by Yoni that claims they dated Kaiser back in 2023 and that she eventually found out he was a pedophile. However, no further evidence has been provided, so take this allegation with a grain of salt. I mentioned earlier a user named Kitty, who was friends with Kaiser and threw him under the bus when it came to his botted followers and bought checkmark. Kitty is infamous within certain communities. For example, she is community manager for one of Roblox's most popular games on the platform, Blade Ball. The document would also claim that she is amongst the corrupt staff team that have been banning people for speaking up about a that was exposed by the name of Deceit. Kitty and Kaiser have always been friends behind the scenes, and they often will defend each other for multiple different things. After the document on Kaiser was published, it wouldn't be long until they caught wind that they were going to be exposed. This is where Kitty would post to Discord a statement that claims all members have been investigated and acquitted. However, she shows no proof to back this up and instead uses the excuse that everything has been taken out of context. And here is the full statement in case they want to claim that this is out of context as well. However, to end off my investigation on Kaiser, I got into contact with the person that created the document on him. This is a user I mentioned earlier who goes under the name Graveyards. She has been involved with Kaiser for quite some time now and has helped the victims gather evidence against him. But I wanted to find out how she personally felt about all of this and maybe to share some personal experiences she has had while dealing with Kaiser. This is what she said.
Me and Kaiser were friends when I first met him. He was like really kind. He came off as a trusting person, and I honestly let my guard down because he had the check mark and limited. But once I found out that he was scamming for everything, my perspective on him changed. It wasn't until I got into this situation with him that I saw that he was really egotistical and narcissistic. Like, when we was in a voice call trying to clear everything up, he kept speaking over me and saying that everything I was proving to him was invalid, or just tried to brush it off as drama, even though I mentioned to him that he scammed multiple people and he broke the trust of the people that, you know, came to him and thought that they were safe to trade their limiteds off to. That about sums up what my experience was as far as communicating with him. He just came off as somebody that was trying to push over on you. Like if you try to explain your side or reason with him, he will always put himself first. Like say if you say you were scamming people, you hurt a lot of people, he would say, well, I think that, well, in my defense, it was always him. It was never about you and him. It was only about him. It was very shocking on my end to find out that he was this type of person. And it just proves that you can't trust everybody. Don't trust anyone with their items, regardless of how prominent they may seem. No matter how many limiteds or followers they have, don't trust them. Because that is true. Like a lot of people on TikTok streams, once they figured out that they could use their status as like a streamer or a creator, they started like scamming a lot of people. They would like take advantage of people's trust. Like in a screenshot, you could see 3 people got scammed by him because they trusted him and they saw his following. They was like, okay, this guy, he's a creator, he's a content manager, he'll never do me, wrong like everyone else. But he just used that as a facade to like get people's stuff and take it from them. And since, the power balance, it definitely made the victims feel hopeless, which is exactly what he's been using to get away with everything he's been doing. It's like, oh, these people don't have a voice, I don't really care. And it was really insulting to me and to the other creators that stood up against him for him to say, let's talk it out, and then try to silence us and just keep talking over us repeatedly. Like, I got the voice clips of that too. He was like, oh, I'm gonna let you speak now. Like, granted permission, like we were supposed to be, blessed to be in his presence, to talk to him one-on-one about a situation that he caused. This was long overdue. How dare you say this little drama when you were defending someone who was in possession of, very illegal content, along with your other friend who you helped get in position of power to shut people up. It was just such a mess. You actually had to be there to understand how everybody felt and how powerless they were trying to make us feel. Like, no joke. Every time we would try to talk to him, he would just be like, how he was like, oh, I'm gonna let you speak. And he just kept trying to cut me off. He does this multiple times, as well as Kitty. They just kept, if I was talking to Kaiser, Kitty would jump in. If I was talking to Kitty, Kaiser would jump in. It was just a mess. It was a mess.
But what do I personally think of all this? Well, Kaiser is obviously a very bad person and has scammed not just his own audience, but also people he has been friends with in the past. I think he is just another Roblox player who takes advantage of people for money. However, what makes this so bad is that Kaiser has a TikTok audience of over 360,000 followers and has been partnered with many of Roblox's most popular games, in which he will use to benefit himself in multiple different ways, but most specifically in scamming people for limited items on Roblox. Which takes us onto the last situation we are covering in today's long episode. Meet the Roblox YouTuber that committed some horrible actions, then went on to trick the entire world into thinking he was a completely different person. Now meet these friends of his who were protecting him for years and were going to help him try to get away with everything. Meet Kelvis, a 25-year-old German man born on December 17th of 1999. Growing up, Kelvis would have a pretty ordinary lifestyle, playing with other kids, going to school, and obviously playing video games. He would experience a pretty average life for most kids that grew up in the late 2000s. Kelvis would quickly get hooked on video games, but the game he fell in love with wasn't just any old game. It was, of course, Roblox. Kelvis loved Roblox so much that he would end up creating a YouTube channel and posting videos to YouTube about the game. July 7th, 2018, Kelvis would open a YouTube channel with the username Kelligish, an unknown to him at the time, but this would be the start of a very promising career, however also marks the beginning of the end. Kelligish would post a lot on his YouTube channels, blowing up in 2019 for Roblox Bubblegum Simulator videos, as well as Friday Night Funkin' related content. Blowing up on YouTube would mean that Kelligish would fully commit to having a strictly young audience, and by August of 2021, 2021, Kalagish would reach the very impressive milestone of 500,000 subscribers. And with this success, even Roblox would give him his own star code. But there was one problem. Kalagish was an extremely greedy person. But what exactly would Kalagish do to make people view him in this way? This takes us to the 20th of August 2021, when a Roblox YouTuber who went by SpyroTunes would post a video to the platform titled, "This Roblox/FNF YouTuber is a danger to children, Kalagish." The video would start with SpyroTunes introducing himself and detailing his presence behind the scene as someone who was friends with a lot of big developers and creators.
So first off, you probably don't know who I am. I've basically just been a background character in the Roblox community for about a year or two now. While being this nice little background character, I get to meet plenty of cool people, whether it be developers or YouTubers, all kinds of people from all walks of life. It's really good to meet all these really creative, cool people. One of those creative, cool people that I met was called Pyronad.
SpyroTunes would then introduce us to Pyronad, a person that is very important when detailing how Kalagish was exposed.
Back in 2019, she was pretty big in the Roblox community, especially on Roblox Twitter. She had a large following for whatever reason, and had lots of connections with famous Robloxians. Now with some YouTubers, she got closer with them than others. One of them, which you might have heard of, is called Kalagish.
Pyronad was friends with Kalagish after they met on Discord.
Pyronad became close buddies with him, to the point of a strange romantic connection between the two developing. The only problem with it was that Pyronad was 15 years old at the time, while Kalagish was 20.
Pyronad was a 15-year-old girl. This raised many red flags, as Kalagish was talking inappropriately with her at the time.
Not only did they have a strange romantic connection, but Mr. Kelrelish took it to that saucy next level, from images of his pee-pee being sent to videos of him, I can't say it here on YouTube. From there, it only gets worse tenfold, with Mr. Bellradish asking and pressuring Pyronad to send pictures, naked pictures of herself to him. He would even send pictures of himself in, those kind of situations to her, and then force her to save them to her camera roll.
He would send his own nude when he was a 20-year-old while she was 15, as well as begging her to send as well.
And unfortunately, after all the pressure and harassment, Pyronad sent some images of herself to Kalagish
actually had a girlfriend at the time, but why would he ruin not only his relationship, but his career and everything he has dreamt of, all for a 15-year-old girl he met on Discord?
At this point in time, Kalagish's girlfriend at the time was made aware of what was going on, so she decided to reach out to Pyronad, asking what the deal was. After that, she confronted Mr. Kel, but he denied even knowing her in the first place. Wow, that's just crazy, man. Then who's the that you're sexting every night? Are there more? Well, apparently so in 2018, but we'll talk about that later.
He would deny even knowing Pyronad to his girlfriend, but soon enough, Kalagish's girlfriend would find out about everything.
Then Pyronad went back to Kello saying, "Hey, why did you lie about not knowing me?" From there, a deal was struck between the two that Pyronad wouldn't tell anyone about what had happened between them in exchange for 20,000 Robux.
An attempt to bribe Pyronad with a pathetic offer of $200 worth of Robux. However, what if I told you Pyronad wasn't the only that Kalagish was talking to?
And I found out from Pyronad that he had in fact done this before with another child. In 2018, he dated a 14-year-old girl, and his excuse for doing it was she was mature for her age.
PyroTunes would link to a Google Drive in the description of the video containing all of the proof on Kalagish, including Discord logs showing Kalagish's despicable behavior, emotionally manipulating and pressuring Nad into sending images of herself, admitting that he would be with a minor, straight admission that Kalagish was texting Nad at the time, on top of more emotional manipulation, even admitting that Pyronad wasn't the only he has talked to. He would also talk about having with PyroNed. Disgusting behavior that should never be forgiven. Pressuring PyroNed into sending explicit photos to him, then trying to guilt trip PyroNed in an attempt to get his own way. Even getting defensive and accusing Nad of gaslighting him. Keep in mind, these were sent from his official partnered Discord account. So now you know what type of person Calagish is, which takes us to the birth of Koofy. It was November 13th, not even 2 months after getting exposed, a new YouTuber under the name Koofy would emerge and almost blow up overnight. The content was strictly Roblox themed and followed a similar style to Kaka V420. The audience he chose was once again children, and not even 2 years after creating the channel, he would hit 1 million subscribers. September 8th of 2024, a YouTuber called Kaka V420 would release a video titled The End of Koofy. The video would detail the duo's iconic past, however Kaka was suspicious of where Koofy actually came from.
I could never quite figure out where Koofy came from. He seemed to know all the dramas too well, was a natural at creating content, was surprisingly good at Funky Friday, and had a weird obsession with playing simulator games 24/7. Every piece of information led me to a dead end, as he didn't have any publicly available social media.
Koofy had given out certain personal information that would lead Kaka to be even more suspicious.
There is a clear line between character and individual. I didn't look like my character IRL, and neither does Koofy. Every time we interacted, it was like we were the same characters from the videos, but occasionally I caught a glimpse of Koofy's true self beyond the character. From his age to his home country, I now had a rough idea of who this guy could be in real life.
Koofy revealed that he was a 23-year-old German man, which would lead Kaka to start connecting the dots, which took him to a time when he was in a call with Olix.
Wait, I mentioned you in a call with Mr. Crimson. Do you know Koofy IRL?
No, he been keeping his identity private.
Bro, Mr. Crimson told me some crazy.
I didn't know it yet. This was the moment where everything would go from west to east, from left to right, from green to red, and from miracle to a nightmare.
I was talking to Mr. Crimson and mentioned you while screen sharing your channel. He noticed and said,
"Oh, he makes videos with Koofy." And I was like, yeah, they do collab a lot, but in recent days he's been— Do you know who Koofy is?
Ha 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 ha. Ha, what's so fun I can't tell you. What's Koofy?
Okay, I'll tell you, but you better keep it a secret. Koofy is—
Kaka had been unknowingly interacting with this scumbag the entire time.
Truth is, before the creation of the Koofy channel, he was Calagish, a prominent figure in the Roblox community, known for his content on games like Bubblegum Simulator and Funky Friday, but his journey took a dark turn. Calagish was exposed for very disturbing behavior, and as a result his Roblox account was banned, he was kicked out of the Star Creator group, and his YouTube channel was terminated. After losing everything, he had no choice but to reinvent himself. That's how Koofy, his TTS channel, was born. Koofy wasn't out of passion or excitement, it's out of necessity, because the person behind it, Calagish, no longer had a place to exist as himself. His real voice is silenced by the weight of what he's done, leaving behind only this artificial echo of who he used to be. Koofy isn't just a new channel, it's a reflection of a broken reality that can never be undone. No matter how many videos he uploads, no matter how many views he gets, Calagish's past hangs over him like a shadow, never letting him forget the person he can no longer be. Koofy is a reminder that sometimes there's no real redemption, only survival, and that survival comes at the cost of losing everything that once made you feel alive.
However, the situation wasn't confirmed just yet, and there were rumors behind the scenes that the Koofy channel was the only reason keeping him alive after he got exposed.
I was connecting the dots and digging deeper. This led me to uncover the most concrete piece of evidence anyone could find. You see, Koofy had shared his analytics with me, allowing me to see every piece of analytic on his channel, right down to his blocked keywords. And what do you know?
I am not in danger, Ray.
Koofy had tricked the entire Roblox community for over 3 years into thinking he was somebody else, and built an audience of over 2 million people while doing it. This would all eventually lead to Kaka confronting Koofy in DMs.
Yo, you're alive. What's good, man? How you been?
I've recently noticed the hidden keywords on your channel, added up the stuff you told me about yourself, the people you associate yourself with, and figured out who you really are. I'm not gonna expose you or tell anyone, but I don't think I'd like to associate with you any longer. longer. We talked and he tried explaining himself, hoping to stay in contact with me, but it was no use. I was going to cut him off regardless of what he said. In the end, we agreed he would delete his Discord account and stop including me in his videos. I cut him off for good.
This takes us into November of 2024. Koofy was exposed for being Kelligish, which would lead to multiple YouTubers making videos on him. However, shortly after he got exposed again, people were suspicious of the YouTubers that already knew Koofy was this predator. Multiple YouTubers that I mentioned earlier not only protected Koofy's identity and kept in contact with the predator, but some even employed him and helped him grow the Koofy channel. This was mostly exposed by a YouTuber called Parlo, so make sure to check his series out for a more in-depth video on each situation revolving around Koofy. But let me introduce you to a Roblox YouTuber that goes by the name It's Maddie. He has over 500,000 subscribers and makes videos on Roblox Bed Wars. He would be exposed in Parlo's video for his association with Koofy after he got exposed. This all started because Maddie and Kelligish were pretty close friends before Kelligish got exposed. But after it all went down and many people cut him off, It's Maddie was one of the very few people who decided to keep in contact with Kelligish. But what if I told you that It's Maddie not only chose to keep contact with this predator, but we're going to help him blow up the Koofy channel as well as employ him for his own YouTube channel. When we take a look at this video titled How Koofy Went From 0 to 100k in 1 month, it details many of the key things that helped Koofy grow when he started YouTube. And one of the things that would be unintentionally exposed in the video was It's Maddie displaying Koofy's video on his end screens. This particular end screen led to a Koofy video titled When You Delete Roblox. An anonymous user would contact It's Maddie, where he can be seen admitting that he employed Koofy, with the reasoning for this that he felt sorry for Kelligish and thought that the only way for him not to himself was to employ him to edit videos for his YouTube channel. I'm not sure if It's Maddie genuinely believes this or if he is just using this for an excuse, but either way, that does not excuse illegally employing a criminal predator. It's Maddie wouldn't just promote Kelligish's new channel and pay him to be his video editor, but he would also start making excuses for doing so. However, he did admit that Kelligish was purposely put in his end screens, which he would later make the claim that he cut Koofy off in early 2022, but provides no proof to back this up, and in Parlo's video, he would testify that he spoke to numerous sources who also backed up the fact that It's Maddie didn't cut off Koofy at this time. He would also go on to say that he would never promote Kelligish on his channel, despite doing it after Kelligish was literally exposed, and seems to only care when he's called out for this. Whether It's Maddie was paid for promoting Kelligish's new channel, or simply just wanted to help a friend, this looked bad either way. And he also said that he thought Kelligish didn't go by the alias Koofy, however this was a blatant lie. From many lies and excuses, to It's Maddie knowingly promoting and employing a on his YouTube channel, It's Maddie proved that he is way too trusting of somebody who got multiple and clearly does not have any sense of remorse for the victims. However, in Parlo's video, he would also expose that It's Maddie wasn't the only person who knew that Koofy was Kelligish. Meet a YouTuber known as Rainway. He has just under 500,000 subscribers and makes Roblox slop content directed towards children. He was another person who was friends with Kelligish at the time he got exposed. In this screenshot, we can see Rainway claiming that he struggles to accept what Kelligish did, despite it being proven with Discord logs and the allegations being very serious. However, it wouldn't be long at all until Rainway would be exposed for his past friendship that he had with Kelligish. Someone on Twitter would call him out and showed solid evidence that Rainway used to defend Kelligish in private, and according to Tanuki Alex, who was running the Roblox RTC Twitter at one point, he would show the Discord logs of Rainway admitting that he thinks the victim isn't a good person, and would also go on to claim that PyroNad wasn't a victim, despite him saying that what Kelligish did was, quote, up. Rainway would then go on to express that everybody should hear out Kelligish, despite there being multiple testimonies and solid Discord log proof of his inappropriate conversations with a 15-year-old girl. Rainway also attempted to stop Tanuki Alex from reporting Kelligish's behavior on the Roblox RTC Twitter account. He would also state what Kelligish did was nothing more than a mistake. Despite all of the proof that we have, he is still trying to downplay what Kelligish did and trying to victimize him in a way. However, what was exposed next was even worse. When Rainway was eventually called out for defending Kelligish in private, it would also be revealed on how he felt about PyroNet, claiming that she wasn't actually a victim and that it was all her fault. And when this was exposed to the public, even more screenshots would come out of Rainway claiming that Kelligish wasn't at fault and that PyroNet shouldn't be considered a victim. So not only was Rainway caught defending this but was also putting all of the blame onto the victim. However, not long after getting exposed, Rainway would then try and cover everything up and would contact multiple YouTubers to not cover what he said. He would completely freak out and try to backpedal, and when he tried talking to Paolo, he would blatantly lie and claim his innocence. This is the alleged proof he showed to Paolo in order to defend himself, but what he showed really didn't disprove anything. He then would continue to keep defending Kelligish, claiming that his actions were a mistake and claiming that PyroNad wasn't a victim. Rainway only switched up ever since he got caught. And when Rainway exposed the full context of the situation, where he said all of that stuff, in some sort of attempt to make him look better, was literally nothing. It was nothing that could help support his defense. But what have I told you? One of the very few people that knew Kelligish was Koofy was one of the worst in the Roblox community. Inhi is a Roblox developer and YouTuber who was exposed in May of 2024 for being a I have covered him in a video on the channel before, however he is still active under the alias Inhi and has known Kelligish and Koofy this whole time. Inhi was also helping Kelligish with his Koofy channel.
Now this screenshot which I'm showing right now was leaked and shows Inhi back in July of this year stating how he knew Kelligish was operating the Koofy channel as early as December 2021 and that he and Kelligish are in fact in contact and have been for a while. This means that any inference that It's Matty makes that he didn't know that Kelligish was Koofy is a complete lie, because the Koofy channel was literally made as of late 2021 and It's Matty cut contact with Kelligish, apparently according to his own words, in early 2022, meaning the dates overlap, meaning he probably knew that Kelligish was Koofy. Now when this screenshot was indeed leaked, especially to my Discord server, Inhi goes on to snitch on It's Matty, stating that he employed Kelligish and gave him a platform.
However, after Inhi got exposed for knowing and helping Koofy, he would also confirm what we knew about It's Matty, which takes us onto the last person who knew that Koofy was Kelligish and withheld proof on him until Paolo and many others in the community started connecting the dots. MiniBloxia is a Roblox YouTuber with over 1.3 million subscribers who makes daily Roblox slop content for his kid audience. To this day, he has gotten away with a lot of disgusting behavior, allegedly. This includes alleged allegations and other stuff of that nature that I'm sure Paolo will cover sometime in the near future. However, today we are looking at how he knew Koofy was Kelligish the whole time, avoided telling the public even though he would have been able to prove it to everyone, and on top of that didn't even admit to this, and people only found out through connecting the dots and investigating themselves. Let's fast forward to January of 2025. YouTuber Paolo would post a video entitled "Roblox YouTuber Koofy is banned, Kelligish vs MiniBloxia exposed." In the video, he would finally expose how MiniBloxia knew Koofy this whole time.
Now this is someone who somehow, despite all the videos calling them out for alleged materials and more, managed to remain in the Roblox community and still have a platform and connections. Now in my last Koofy video, I bring up how Mr. Crimson, someone who was presented in KakaV420's video, was indeed probably MiniBloxia. Now this Mr. Crimson person was someone who bragged to Olix about how he knew who Koofy actually was, and didn't want to tell anyone about this situation and instead keep it secret. Here's a clip.
But in recent days, he's been a you-know-who Koofy is. Huh, what's so fun I can't tell you? What's cool? Who's he? Okay, I'll tell you, but you better keep it a secret. Koofy is...
And I can say as of today that I have even yet more proof that MiniBloxia is in fact Mr. Crimson, because some people were a bit skeptical as to believe.
Paolo would then go on to detail the proof that he had and the connections that led Mr. Crimson to be exposed as MiniBloxia.
Now in a call with Roblox YouTuber Spec and Roblox YouTuber Rainway states in response to me that their entire friend group knew that MiniBloxia was probably Mr. Crimson because it was pretty obvious to draw the dots and compare them. Here is a clip. That Mini knew. I think it's an open secret that most big YouTubers know that Mr. Crimson was Mini, and they knew that Mini knew. Did you know that, Rainware, that Mr. Crimson was MiniBloxia?
Well,
kind of friend group kind of just like assumed. They're like, oh, okay.
Ultimately confirming that Mini Bloxia was Mr. Crimson, therefore meaning that he was bragging to know about Kufi being Caligish and withheld the information from the public for a very long time.
So now it's abundantly obvious that it's most likely true, especially when taking into account as well how Mini Bloxia hasn't denied the situation still to this day. You would have thought that if it was all fake, he would have easily just denied it, but notice how he hasn't.
And as of recording this on the 28th of February 2025, Mini Bloxia still has not responded to knowing Kufi and not telling anyone. Even with Paolo's 2 videos exposing him getting over 800,000 views combined, he still avoided to say a word. Caligish got exposed for multiple then tricked the entire world for 2 years into thinking that he was somebody else, whilst building a channel with over 2 million subscribers, where 4 confirmed YouTubers either defended him, protected him, and helped him when he was posing as Kufi. But that's it. That is the most hated Roblox YouTubers of February 2025 that I have either covered, haven't covered, or even the time where I got called out myself. I really hope you guys enjoy these compilation type videos. I will try avoid doing them as much, but they are definitely good for the new viewers on the channel. But as always, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy content like this, please make sure to subscribe, and if you want to watch something similar to this, click the video on screen now.